A stuttering rabbit, a red dress that launched 1,000 VHS pauses, and a world where cartoons and humans shared the same streets and the same sins. Who Framed Roger Rabbit wasn't just a technical marvel, it was an audacious experiment. A noir comedy hybrid backed by Disney, powered by Spielberg, and stitched together by animators on the edge of burnout.
Cut! What the hell is wrong with that take? Nothing with you, baby Herman. You were great. You were perfect. You were better than perfect. This Roger, he keeps blowing his lines.
It dazzled us in 1988, but it almost never existed. Buried beneath its slapstick chaos is a history of studio warfare, censorship, and psychological fallout. Bob Hoskins lost his grip on reality. Steven Spielberg played puppet master. And Jessica Rabbit? She caused an international incident. This isn't just the story of a revolutionary film. It's the story of what nearly destroyed it. Let's dive into 20 hidden facts that will shock you. Fact number 1. The cartoon that almost bankrupted Disney. In the mid-1980s, Disney wasn't the powerhouse we know today. It was bleeding cash, struggling to stay relevant, and desperate for a hit. That desperation led them to a risky bet, a noir comedy with talking tunes and adult themes. Who Framed Roger Rabbit ballooned to a then unthinkable $50 million budget, the most expensive film Disney had ever financed. Executives were terrified. If it flopped, it could sink the company entirely. Midway through production, several high-ranking Disney officials demanded the plug be pulled. But producer Jeffrey Katzenberg insisted the only way out was through. He was right. The film grossed over $330 million worldwide. But for months, Roger Rabbit was seen inside Disney as a suicidal leap, not a surefire success.
But I'm a toon. Toons are supposed to make people laugh.
Sit down!
You don't understand. Those people needed to laugh.
Yeah, when they done laughing, they'll call the cops. That guy Angelo would rat on you for a nickel.
The only thing bigger than the budget was the fear it would bankrupt the mouse. Fact number 2. Steven Spielberg's secret power moved behind the scenes. One man had more control over Roger Rabbit than even Disney itself, Steven Spielberg. Through his production company, Amblin Entertainment, Spielberg negotiated an unprecedented deal giving him creative authority over major decisions, including final say on which cartoon characters appeared. That's how he wrangled rights from Warner Brothers Studio, MGM, and Universal. No one else could have pulled it off. In many ways, this was Spielberg's film. He controlled casting, tone, even the ending. Disney needed him, and he knew it. Years later, when the sequel was pitched, Spielberg refused. Without him, the dream of another Roger Rabbit vanished overnight.
Tunes.
Cigars, cigarettes, Eddie Valiant.
Betty?
Long time no see.
What are you doing here?
The only thing Spielberg didn't direct was how hard Disney would beg him to come back. Fact number 3. Jessica Rabbit's body was banned in some countries. Jessica Rabbit wasn't just a cartoon, she was a controversy. Modeled after femme fatales like Veronica Lake and Rita Hayworth, with a touch of Marilyn Monroe's curves, her exaggerated body proportions and sultry voice pushed the limits of PG. In some international markets, her scenes were cut or heavily edited. Censors deemed her too sexually suggestive for younger audiences. But animators didn't hold back. In one infamous sequence, a frame-by-frame analysis revealed a moment where Jessica's dress lifts, and there's nothing underneath. Disney denied it at first, but quietly edited future releases. The original Laserdisc still exists, and collectors know exactly which frame to freeze. The only thing thinner than her waistline was Disney's denials. Fact number 4. Bob Hoskins started hallucinating. Toons playing Eddie Valiant required Bob Hoskins to act opposite nothing, just empty air. For months, he performed entire scenes while imagining Roger, Jessica, and the rest. To help, animators gave him cardboard cutouts and puppeteers during rehearsals. But the strain was real. After filming Wrapped, Hoskins admitted to seeing cartoon characters in real life. He hallucinated Roger Rabbit in his kitchen, heard voices, saw shadows. His doctor ordered him to take time off. The experience was so intense, Hoskins vowed never to do another film like it. He later joked that the Toons broke his brain. It wasn't funny at the time.
What could have possibly happened to you to turn you into such a sourpuss?
You want to know? I'll tell you. A Toon killed my brother.
A toon? No.
The only thing more immersive than his performance was the breakdown that followed. Fact number 5. Warner Brothers and Disney's unholy pact, Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny, on screen together? It seemed impossible. These were rival mascots from competing empires. But Spielberg pulled off the unthinkable. A legal agreement where both characters shared the same amount of screen time and spoke the same number of words, down to the syllable. It was a balancing act of ego, contracts, and cold math. Any perceived favoritism could trigger lawsuits. Animators had to storyboard their scenes side by side to maintain symmetry. Even the voice actors were under scrutiny. It was the only time in history the two icons appeared together, and the deal has never been replicated since.
Hey, what's up, Doc? Jumping without a parachute? Kinda dangerous, ain't it?
Yeah.
You could get killed, huh?
You guys got a spare?
Bugs does.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I don't think you want it.
I do. Give it to me.
Gee, better let him have it, Bugs.
The only thing rarer than Mickey and Bugs sharing a screen was getting their studios to share anything at all. Fact number 6. The animator who hid a full-on scandal framed one animator, frustrated by long hours and studio micromanagement, decided to leave a mark. Literally. In a blink-and-you'll-miss-it moment during a car crash scene, a background frame features Jessica Rabbit in a highly compromising pose. It wasn't just risque, it was explicit. The frame slipped through censors and was only discovered when fans paused the Laserdisc release. The animator was quietly dismissed, but the damage was done. Disney scrambled to recall the tapes, edit the frame, and bury the story. But it was too late. Word spread. Collectors hoarded the uncut versions, and the incident became a textbook example of animator rebellion, with frame-by-frame evidence. One rogue frame turned a family film into a collector's scandal, and Disney's worst pause and rewind nightmare. Fact number 7. The deleted scene that made test audiences gasp. There was once a much darker version of Roger Rabbit, one where Judge Doom didn't just dip toons, he also dipped humans. In a deleted scene, Doom demonstrates his power by killing a real-life human shoe salesman who refuses to comply. The sequence was shot, scored, and even animated in part. But during test screenings, audiences recoiled. The mood shifted from zany noir to outright horror. Disney panicked. The scene was cut, the actor uncredited, and the footage shelved indefinitely. Rumors of its existence persist in collector circles, with storyboards and partial reels occasionally surfacing. A disturbing reminder of how far the film almost went.
Remember how we always thought there wasn't a way to kill a toon? Well, Doom found a way. Turpentine, acetone, benzene. He calls it the dip.
It wasn't the dip that scared audiences. It was the realization that nobody was safe. Fact number 8. The studio exec who wanted to cut all the toons. In early drafts, the script leaned heavily on detective drama. One Disney executive, who famously didn't get animation, proposed cutting most of the cartoon cameos to save money. No Daffy, no Donald, no Betty Boop. Just Roger, Jessica, and a few generic tunes. The suggestion sparked outrage among the creative team. Spielberg threatened to walk. Director Robert Zemeckis reportedly laughed in the exec's face. Eventually, the idea was dropped. But not before some battles were fought in closed-door meetings. Had the exec succeeded, Who Framed Roger Rabbit would have lost its magic, and likely flopped. Sometimes saving money means killing the soul of the story.
What the?
I'm getting too old for this!
If that exec had gotten his way, Roger Rabbit would have been all trench coat, no tune. Fact number 9. Roger Rabbit was almost voiced by this 80s icon. Before Charles Fleischer brought Roger Rabbit to frantic, stuttering life, producers considered several big-name stars, including Pee Wee Herman himself, Paul Reubens. His high-pitched voice and manic energy made him a natural fit. For a time, he was the top choice. But test recordings fell flat. Reubens's version of Roger lacked warmth and came off as too weird. Enter Fleischer, a method actor who showed up on set in a full rabbit costume and stayed in character between takes. He nailed the mix of innocence and hysteria. Reubens went on to success elsewhere, but for a brief moment, Roger almost had a totally different voice and vibe.
How the hell did you get in here? Through the mail slot. I thought it would be best if I waited inside, see if how I'm wanted for murder.
One wrong voice, and Roger could have sounded more like a cartoon villain than a lovable wreck. Fact number 10. Why Judge Doom's eyes turn red. It's the most haunting moment in the film. Christopher Lloyd's Judge Doom, flattened by a steamroller, suddenly rises, screeching with a helium-pitched voice and glowing red eyes. It terrified kids and shocked parents. But those eyes weren't just for scare value. They were a clue. Doom, it turns out, was the Toon who murdered Eddie Valiant's brother, a fact foreshadowed by those crimson irises. Red eyes were associated with rogue Toons in early drafts. The effect was added late in production, using a complicated blend of hand-drawn overlays and optical compositing. For weeks, the animators debated. Was it too scary? Spielberg insisted it stay. He wanted kids to remember Judge Doom, nightmares and all.
Remember me, Eddie? When I killed your brother, I talked.
Turns out, the scariest reveal wasn't the red eyes. It was the truth they'd been hiding in plain sight. Fact number 11. Mickey Mouse versus Bugs Bunny. The Battle of Screen Time. One of the strangest standoffs in Hollywood history didn't happen on camera. It happened in the boardroom. Warner Brothers and Disney agreed to loan their icons, Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse, for one condition: absolute equality. Not just in screen time, but in tone, lines, and impact. Every smirk, every syllable, every frame was measured. The animators had to stage their skydive scenes side by side, matching each movement like synchronized swimmers. If Mickey looked cooler than Bugs, lawsuit. If Bugs cracked the better joke, lawsuit. The result? A perfect tense symmetry that looks effortless on screen but was a legal and creative tug-of-war behind the scenes. Two mascots, one screen, and no room for second billing.
Ah, no! Ah!
Aw, poor fella. Yeah, ain't I a stinker?
Behind every laugh was a lawyer, and behind every frame, a fight for cartoon dominance. Fact number 12. The voice actor who refused to work with Disney again. Charles Fleischer gave everything to Roger Rabbit. He screamed, stuttered, and spun himself into vocal knots to create the iconic tune. He even wore a rabbit suit on set to help the other actors react naturally. But what he didn't expect was Disney downplaying his performance in post-production. Fleischer wasn't invited to major premieres, he wasn't credited in promotional campaigns, and he later claimed the studio ghosted him after the film's release. It was a bitter ending to a role that nearly shredded his vocal cords. Fleischer continued working in Hollywood, but never returned to a Disney project. For him, Roger was a labor of love and a painful lesson in studio politics.
Please, Eddie! Oh, sorry, Roger, making a big mistake. I didn't kill anybody. I swear, this whole thing's a setup, a scam, a frame job. Ouch! Eddie, I could never hurt anybody. Ow! My whole purpose in life is to make people live!
He brought Roger to life, and Disney left him out of the picture. Fact number 13. Censorship battles over Jessica's every move. Jessica Rabbit was a walking, or slinking, controversy. Censors in multiple countries flagged her for inappropriate attire, hypersexualized movement, and even perverse animation. In one country, the entire ink and paint club sequence was banned. In others, Jessica's cleavage was digitally blurred for TV. But the battle wasn't just international. Internally, Disney's Standards and Practices Department clashed with the animators constantly. One memo infamously listed 17 specific hip motions that needed to be toned down. The animators, of course, ignored half of them. For every cut made, another subtle gesture slipped through. Jessica wasn't just a cartoon. She was a lightning rod for a studio stuck between innocence and innuendo.
My hero. Oh, honey bunny.
Oh, love cup.
Oh, Roger, you were a pillar of strength.
She wasn't bad, but her animators definitely didn't follow the rules. Fact number 14. Why the film's sequel was silenced for decades. A sequel was planned. Scripts were written. Even test footage was made, but it never happened. Why? The answer: a tangled mess of rights, egos, and one major refusal. Spielberg, who had the power to greenlight a sequel, walked away in the early 1990s. Rumors say he didn't want to work with Disney again after disputes over Schindler's List and Amblin's creative control. Without Spielberg, the cross-studio agreements collapsed. Plus, CGI was rising, and traditional animation was fading. A proposed prequel, Roger Rabbit, The Toon Platoon, was killed in development. And just like that, Roger was shelved. Silenced not by poor reception, but by the friction of empire-sized studios refusing to play nice a second time.
Possible. I don't believe it. It can't be. It just can't be. Jessica's my wife. It's not good for you.
Roger didn't fade out. He was pushed off stage by power plays and progress. Fact number 15. The dark real-life inspiration behind Toontown. Toontown wasn't just a whimsical setting. It was inspired by a very real and very dark chapter of Los Angeles history: the demolition of minority neighborhoods for freeway construction. In particular, the film draws from the destruction of the black community in Chavez Ravine to build Dodger Stadium. In Roger Rabbit, the Toons are displaced by a greedy villain using freeways as a weapon of gentrification. The metaphors aren't subtle, they're just dressed in slapstick. Director Robert Zemeckis and screenwriter Jeffrey Price confirmed the connection. Beneath the tunes and gags lies a brutal commentary on power, profit, and cultural erasure. Toontown wasn't a fantasy. It was a cautionary tale and a memorial. The Toons were evicted with laughs, but the pain behind their story was all too real. Fact number 16. Spielberg pulled the plug on future crossovers. After the success of Roger Rabbit, Disney wanted more cameos, more crossovers, more merchandising. But Spielberg wasn't interested. He felt the lightning had already struck once, and trying to recreate it would dilute its impact. When Disney pitched a shared cinematic universe of cartoon icons, yes, decades before the MCU, Spielberg refused. He still held key rights through Amblin, and without his signature, nothing could move forward. His silence became a full stop. Over time, those big dreams of a sequel, a spin-off, even a theme park ride, all died on the drawing board. Spielberg didn't just direct Hollywood, he denied it.
This is the last time I work with someone with a speech impediment. This means war.
The multiverse could have started with Roger, but Spielberg closed that portal before it ever opened. Fact number 17. The animator who quit after a nervous breakdown. The animation in Roger Rabbit was revolutionary, but it came at a price. Animators worked 12 to 16-hour days, sometimes for weeks without time off. Every frame required hand-drawn perfection, then optical compositing with live-action footage. One lead animator, whose work was praised by Spielberg himself, suffered a nervous breakdown midway through production. He reportedly collapsed at his desk and never returned. His contributions remain in the film, anonymous, uncredited. The production took a toll on many others too. Some animators left the industry entirely afterward. Behind the smiles and sight gags was a production pipeline that pushed artists to their physical and mental limits.
Now drink this, son. It'll make you feel better.
For every tune that bounced across the screen, there was an artist breaking down behind it. Fact number 18. The frame-by-frame edits. Disney doesn't talk about when Roger Rabbit hit home video, Disney quietly altered several scenes without public notice. Jessica Rabbit's infamous taxi tumble? Edited. Baby Herman's lewd gesture? Cropped. Even minor background characters were redrawn. Why? Legal threats, angry parents, and mounting media scrutiny? By the time DVDs came out, the film was a shadow of its theatrical version. But early VHS and Laserdisc copies remain, and fans have cataloged the differences frame by frame. Disney has never released an official list of changes. In their eyes, those mistakes never existed. But to animation historians, they're a case study in corporate damage control through digital erasure.
Behind you!
Drop it, lady!
I just saved your life and you still don't trust me?
I don't trust anybody or anything.
Not even your own eyes? That's the gun that killed R.K. Maroon, and Doom pulled the trigger.
Disney didn't just clean up the film. They tried to erase the mess they swore never happened. Fact number 19. The tech that changed animation forever. Then vanished. The fusion of hand-drawn animation with live action wasn't just an artistic feat. It was a technical marvel. Industrial Light and Magic pioneered groundbreaking motion control rigs, shadow compositing, and light interaction to make toons feel real. It was so advanced that the Academy created a special Technical Achievement Award. But here's the twist. That tech was never reused at scale. CGI exploded in the early 90s, and traditional animation was sidelined. What was built for Roger Rabbit became obsolete almost overnight. The techniques remain studied in film schools, but they belong to a cinematic era that ended as quickly as it began. Like Roger himself, the magic appeared, dazzled, and disappeared.
Can we lose the playback, please? You're killing me. For crying out loud, Roger! How many times do we have to do this damn scene? Go! I'll be in my trailer, taking a nap!
It didn't evolve. It vanished, leaving behind a legacy too advanced for its own time. Fact number 20. How Roger Rabbit was erased from Disney history. Despite being a cultural milestone and Oscar winner, Roger Rabbit has all but vanished from Disney's branding. No merchandise in stores, no Roger in theme parks, no anniversary celebrations. Why? Insiders cite licensing headaches, ongoing disputes with Amblin, and Disney's shift toward IP it fully owns. But others whisper about internal embarrassment, about how risque the film now feels in a sanitized corporate landscape. In short, Roger doesn't fit. He's too weird, too chaotic, too independent. The character who saved Disney from collapse was quietly swept aside. Today, Roger Rabbit lives on mostly in fan circles, a forgotten icon who once ruled Hollywood.
The Danes will be breaking his door down.
Dames? What dames? Don't think I'm the only one for me. You'll see. We'll ride above this piddling picadillo. We're gonna be happy again. You got that? Happy. P-I.
Then got dipped in silence. Roger didn't break the rules. He was the rule breaker, and that's why Disney locked him away. Beneath the slapstick and sass, who framed Roger Rabbit was a miracle of chaos, stitched together by deals, breakdowns, and last-minute magic. It changed cinema and nearly destroyed its creators in the process. If you're just now seeing the cracks behind the cartoon, hit that like button, subscribe for more cinematic deep dives, and tell us which hidden detail shocked you the most. Because in Toontown, nothing is ever what it seems.